Today's focus, her body, my right. We've heard this so many times, but also the key focus on the entitlement of men when it comes to the women's body.
The entitlement basically means you have rights to someone or something. A lot of times men, when we get into relationships, we get in with the mentality and understanding to say, I'm in the relationship, I'm in charge, I'm in control, you are mine, I can do with you as I will. Right?
But when that, it is time that we as men get to understand that at least that women at this point in time have bodily integrity, have bodily autonomy of themselves.
Yeah. Because whenever you are inviting someone, you're already eyeing someone. So especially when you invite someone at your place, because you already have this thing that if you invite someone at home at your place, okay, let me say no, there's no drinking, there's nothing. The moment you invite a lady to your house, in your mind already you know that yes, this is, if she comes, you know already that this is when we are going to have sex.
Like I said, when we grow up, for us it's like, if you're making out with the girl and she says no, you try again, she says no, you try again, and without realizing that that phrase no means no. Like, it doesn't mean that try harder, it means like stop, don't try to go further. You understand? Like literally that's
Good day and welcome to What We Men Get to Talk About. My name is Adriano Fisaki, and today our key focus is being sexualized as a boy. Now, also, I'm joined by men as we get to just simply engage on discussions that also lure, that is, towards violence. Now, this is proudly brought to you by Men Engaged Namibia Network, as well as Regain Trust and the United Nations Population Fund. So we would like for you to also comment, share your views on our topic of discussion, because tonight is also the first episode of this same topic, whereby we will also have a follow-up with a different panel as well. Now, gentlemen, you've been on the panel before. Shall you just introduce yourself again, Anthony?
Okay. My name is Anton Ngawe, and basically I'm man of many things.
Man of many things, indeed. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Severinus Sainga,
Yeah.
and I could say the same.
Yeah.
Man of many things.
Man of many things.
Yes.
Now, gentlemen, the previous discussion, we focused a lot on objectification and consent from, from men's side, but also, do we ask women for consent when we want to sort of engage with them sexually and intimately within our partners as well? So just in terms of that, what are your thoughts? I'm going to start with you, Anthony, since you have a little bit of background on it.
I think consent is it is based on how I was brought up.
Yeah,
it's quite a very tricky thing because we were brought up sometimes. I remember growing up as a peer. If she says no, she means yes.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the language we grew up with, and the language also where we were taught, a woman should never deny you sex. It's your right. So
it's the man's right.
It's a man's right.
Yeah.
So those are so consent was quite a very tricky thing because we didn't know where to draw the lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask, you say tricky or it was just not part of a discussion?
No, literally, it wasn't just part of discussion.
Okay.
You shouldn't even ask for permission.
Yeah.
As long as she's yours and she said yes, anytime you feel like having sex, you can go ahead and say, hey, tonight, I want to have some sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if she says no, and that actually means yes.
Which was very difficult because if she says no, there will be a lot of things that night. Things will not go well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Well, it could also apply to not only when the woman is already yours.
Yeah.
But the question of consent also applies to even when you're approaching a girl.
Yeah.
That a prospective girl that you think it's going to be yours. And then there's this saying in our men kind of circle that If she says no, it only means with a little more effort.
Yeah.
It's practically
So you
yes.
will try
So
to
it
find a
aligns.
way.
It aligns to that. That no was never really no for a man. It's
Yeah.
it's a delayed yes.
Yeah.
If I have to put it that way. Yeah. And then if we have to talk about objectification.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we do that every day, and we don't even ask them permissions.
Yeah.
We objectify women every day. Well, we look at a girl like, what a piece of meat. It's a nice, yeah. I mean, yesterday I had a drive through with my colleague, and we're in a car driving, and he sees this beautiful woman. He's like, guys, the pressure that is on us.
Even if your woman is next to you.
I've already objectified.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, it is happening.
It's happening, yeah.
Yes.
Indeed. And that is what we're focusing on this show, to sort of really say, men, let's engage men on issues that is really affecting us, and also in the later run also has such a huge effect when it comes to violence. Now, gentlemen, we're going to get deep into it. We're going to so much just dive into it, and let's start talking, being sexualized as a boy. Take us back to your first experiences of sex, what was it like? Where was it like? Was it with your mom? Was it with your dad? Was it with your buddies? How did you get exposed to, the term sex? And
As for me, growing up, I grew up in a very male-dominated kind of environment. I would say my first 12 years of my life. So the behavior that was expected of me was kind of very sexually driven, to a point where my elder brothers, I had so much confidence than my elder brothers, and I would go and ask these women out for them. They would send me to be doing their errands, their women errands, to ask them out. And well, one of them is married to one of those moves. So because of that, I grew up, I guess that was part of my, I would say, I was initiated that way.
Yeah.
I came to know about sex that way.
Yeah.
Because you have to go to a woman. And when you are asking a woman out, the main objective is you're going to have sex.
Yeah.
That was my first 12 years of my life. As I started growing up, came to high school and all that, then you join the men's circles, the teenage circles at schools. We'll compete, for Christ's sake. We'll see a beautiful girl, and the three of us will be like, we'll bet. Let's see
who's going to get her first.
Who's going to get that.
Yeah.
The whole objective is to get the girl, let her to bed.
Yeah. And the discussion was never had at home to say, okay, this is what you as a man, that wasn't had with you.
No, in fact, if you're doing that, you are applauded. If you're doing that, they see that today you're with this one, tomorrow you're bringing in another one, tomorrow you're talking to that one, your confidence grows, they applaud you.
Yeah.
It was a good thing. And that somehow activates
your confidence. Yeah.
Somehow it activates your sexual drive. You just want to keep going on. All of a sudden, you know about sex. No one has to tell you about sex. You just know it.
You okay? Ego is definitely being boosted there from you, Anthony.
On my behalf, I would say I wasn't directly. I don't remember my father or my mother sitting me down and teaching me about sex, which at this stage of my life, I think I could have loved to learn the basics about sex. But my parents, my mother and my father, never got to talk to me about sex. The first encounter I had to understand about sex, it was my uncles. We were living in the location. So there's this highway where when everybody is coming from town and they're being dropped, you are being dropped somewhere far where there's buses and taxi drops, and then everybody, most people would walk through the passage. And I remember very well my uncles sitting down every evening to look through at women. And they would, I think I was from 8 years to 10 years, that was the time. And how they would be talking about women. And I remember I'm just going to be real, maybe it influenced the reason I love a little bit big women.
Yeah.
Because my uncles used to say, don't date a skinny girl. You'll find yourself on the legs. That was it was sexual that English word. So, but to this very day, it has so much impact in me that it's rarely for me to look at a skinny girl because how my uncles would comment about women passing by. And I remember this, it's funny, but it's growing up, these were so much impactful. My uncle would look at a huge woman passing by and they would say a comment like she has handles. So that stuck to me. Those were the first stages before going into high school and other places where I began to learn other things. But first stage, I encountered a lot of language concerning sex.
And that was just the language.
Just language.
And maybe, gentlemen, let's have this discussion, you know, because now I really feel, what was that first encounter? Because now it's this thing of your body reacts as a teenager, and you say that was the part of your first 12 years. So now you really get to act, and now you get to start doing this. What was the message for you personally? And did you just, you know, it's here, it's happening, we're kissing, what do? Do we take each other's clothes off? What was that encounter like in terms of the experience for you personally?
For me, I think, because
if you can still remember that.
As I said, that the first 12 years of my life was very male kind of dominated. Because of that, I felt responsible that I'm taking one for the team. It's like I need to be part of the team. I'm talking about the men team.
Was there a lot of pressure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you don't, you come, and there was no restriction coming home with a girl per se, or seeing you out with a girl. In fact, that was the trend for me. See, so it was not just at home. It was my whole environment. It became just that. So my first 12 years was really, really difficult because I had to keep up with this sexual pressure. And to a certain point, I then became confident with girls. I became the playboy. Words just flew. The words just flew out of me, confusing these poor girls. But yes, to answer your question, when it came to a point of you are now in action, we are kissing, there is no thinking about it. As soon as we kiss, you know it has to lead to sex. We need to be in bed at some point. If we are in the streets, we are kissing in the streets, I'll start making arrangements to get to the room. It just happens naturally. Whatever was in control at that point, I may not know, but it just kept going with the flow because my environment was very sexually dominated. But then, the most difficult for me is that after 12 years, the environment changed. Suddenly, it became women-dominated. Like heavily women-dominated.
Explain that.
All of a sudden, because we changed now, we changed countries. I was born here, and then we moved. My first 12 years of my life were in Angola, and then my parents decided to come back here. And when we came back here, the environment was women-dominated. Now, I have to live with these women that I somehow I could only relate to them mostly sexually. Now I have cousins, I have sisters, I have aunties, I have all these women around me, and I cannot engage with them sexually. But I have to control myself, or I have to now fit in this women-dominated environment, coming from a male-dominated kind of environment. That the transition was really, really difficult for me, to a point where, well, I would say it did good for me because I came to learn about the other side. Yes, my aunties would talk to me, my sisters, my cousins. I would see what is happening on their side, how they engage to men. Then for me, I was more of a spectator then.
And you could advise in that instance?
No, I couldn't.
Not?
No.
Okay.
It confused.
Yeah.
I would say I was confused.
Because of the environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Because now what is expected of me has changed. All of a sudden, I'm not expected to perform sexually. I'm not expected to act sexually. I'm expected to go to church, be in a choir, come back home, give voice training. We do cooking, fetching water to school, and girlish thing.
Okay. Anthony, your experience?
I think my first encounter was when I moved from a town back to the village. Now, there again, I've told you the first part of my uncles in the city. going back to the village, now you are initiated with these roots, charms. They put it in your bottle. Now there, I'm going from 12 going to 14.
Yeah.
I'm back in the village, and they would put these roots in the bottle, and you drink, you know, to make your manhood strong, to be able to stand with a woman for a long time. Now this is in the village. So I remember coming from the city, there was this girl that everybody wanted, beautiful girl, and nobody seems to get her.
Yeah.
And that was me now coming to show my skills from the city. And that was the first encounter. It is something that I can't use word to describe it. Yes.
But and I want to ask, you know, based on your encounters that you've had so far, do you feel that that has sort of influenced your sexual life and maybe your current relationships in a positive or negative way?
I would say yes, because for me personally, it damaged me. Between the two, I chose to go. The one way was more dominating than the other. I chose to go to my male-dominated side.
Yeah.
Because at first I was a spectator, but later on it just clicked on. I needed to continue with my ways.
Yeah.
And there was no girl I couldn't get. That I could tell you. At high school, and it so happened that almost every school I went to, I would be selected as the head boy.
Yeah.
So you are the face of the school. All the girls
Always in the
attention, all the girls
Position
attention
of power.
Yeah.
I'm in drama club, I'm acting, I'm in choir, I'm directing the choir, I'm in the football team, I'm the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
All the girls' attention are on me. I'm in the hostel, I'm running the hostel. I had so much power, so much control and I used it. Well, I don't know if today I would say it, I would use it positively or negatively. It's up to the people that I had this encountered with to say. Yeah. But I would be with the keys of the hostel, of the girls' block, for example.
So you were in control. It wasn't a thing of you had to go hunt anymore because
I couldn't.
They would come to you.
I would study time. It's study time, 8 o'clock. I will arrange with my boys. Listen, at table number what? There's 12 people. One of them is going to miss. Just go sign present. I'm taking this girl out. Yeah. And I would arrange girls for my boys as well. I was in control. And because of that, I think it has affected my relationships negatively to a point where I am now, until now, I'm struggling to hold on to one person. Yeah. Because every time I want to, is she enough? It comes to that. Yeah. I don't really know what am I looking for. What is a relationship? I was married. Is one thing I'll tell you. I was married. I'm divorced. If you ask me today the reason for my divorce, I'll probably think about it for a couple of hours and still won't give you a reason. But I'm divorced. Now, what brought that? Now, when I think of it, that's when I've realized it is these sexual drives. It is this sexual initiation, this sexual activation that I've had. And somehow for me, I was living the life as a man. Yeah. No, but my relationships somehow are failing. Yeah, because of that and what you were exposed to from early sex exposure. Because of that. Yeah. And from you, Anthony?
I think how we were sexualized, it's at this moment in my years, it's very painful. It has brought a lot of trauma to me and the people that I happen to be in a relationship with. And even now that I am married, even my marriage wasn't easy from the beginning because of the mindset of how I was sexualized. It wasn't a very healthy way because first I was sexualized in the sense that I was somehow told that my manhood can get anything it wants. There was no limit, no controls. But at the end of the day, it ended up damaging me more than the people I was supposed to be with or supposed to be controlling over. Yeah. So it damaged me a lot. So how I was sexualized and the stages I went through were very, very painful. Yeah.
And then maybe to ask you in that, do you feel that as men, when we are being sexualized, that it sort of boosts our ego, it boosts who we think? Because you said that, you know, you were the man of all these things. You were the head boy, you were at, you know, to an extent where you felt you were in control of so many things.
I would say there is a positive aspect of it and a negative aspect of it.
Okay.
Because
What is the
for
positive?
me, positively, it led me to, because I had so much attention, I could not fail.
Yeah.
Because if I fail, they will laugh at me that, that's the guy that was doing that. No. I had to push myself academically because of that. So I pushed myself. Coming from this is something that we share as most African families. We come from very humble families with, you know, with as little as our grandparents could afford.
Yeah.
Now, we were like 21 kids at our place, and I came out the only graduate.
Wow.
Until today. Well, now my siblings are kind of pushing now. You see, because I went back home, I hang it up there on the wall that here it is now.
Yeah.
Everyone get it. Okay, now they're pushing themselves, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But where did that good thing come from? It's from that sexual drive that I had. It made me this popular guy, getting the girls and so on. I didn't want to become the laughing stock of the community.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep myself, my social status,
Yeah.
as I would say that. And today, I proudly say that I am a psychologist. I'm an artist. I've studied these things.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding behaviors more than I did before.
Yeah.
Today, I work for an NGO. I'm able to raise funds that goes towards taking care of children.
Yeah.
Because of the subject that I've done in school.
Absolutely.
And because of that specific experience.
Yeah.
But the negative part of it, I don't have a relationship.
And that is what's hard.
Personally, I am failing to keep a relationship.
Yeah.
I want this girl today. Tomorrow I want this nicely shaped. Tomorrow, the following day, I want another one. And then there's another lips. They keep coming certain things that I'm just I wouldn't say falling for. That is the negative part.
Yeah. And you mentioned, you know, something which was quite interesting is that although you're married, that in the beginning it was quite rocky for you.
Yes.
Based because of, you know, you being sexualized in so many senses, and, you know, probably women saying, despite you being married, that I would still go for you. And we see that quite a lot.
That happens a lot. And just going back before the marriage, somehow when you look at some instances, I would say because of how sexualized, some older women also took advantage of. Because at the back of my head, I would think, okay, it's an older woman, but you know how I was brought up, I can handle this.
Yeah.
But indirectly, they're actually taking advantage of me. So that has a lot of negative impact. As much as we did, or I did personally, do a lot of great works, but most of it was to get an approval from the women I wanted to take advantage of.
Yeah.
So I did great things, but with a negative motivation.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of negative impact that for years I had to see therapy, I had to go through psychology because of how I was just sexualized.
And based by older women as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And Anthony, maybe just to answer that, our next question, basically, how did you then lure that into saying, you know what, despite me being exposed to my elders and the shape of a woman, you know, that I will not allow this to sort of lead to violence towards my sexual partners, and maybe if it has, or towards you, how have you handled it?
Over the year, it has not been an easy process. It has not been an easy process because of how I was brought up. At a certain time, I became I was violent even towards women. It had to take me a very strong decision to look for counseling and psychologists to help me get out of the dark curve that I was in. For me to become a better person, a transformed man, it took a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of effort. I think one of the project we started was with James, Men Engage, and at UNAM I joined Zamanawe, all these peer groups. That was the moment of transformation, in such a way that all the experience, how I've been hurt and what I've hurt people, I'm now turning that mess into a message where now I can be able to help even couples, young people, male and female. So that's how the whole process has begun to change.
Yeah.
And
what's the journey been like?
And that is an informed decision. He made an informed decision.
Yeah.
He have gone through the process and he realized it and made an informed decision that I need to do something about that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the message in that I will take is that it's actually up to me then to take my experiences, everything that I'm going through, and sit and decide, what do I do about it?
Okay. And I'm going to put you on the spot now. When are you making that informed decision? Or have you, or are you on the journey of making it? And you don't have to answer.
Actually, I'd love to answer that.
Yeah.
I'd love to answer that. You know, you've mentioned violence in it. For me, I think the lucky thing I had was when I then came to this female-dominated environment, they activated the woman in me. Yes, I became more caring about my own people at home, very sensitive about safety of women. Yeah. That's why I cook. I do literally everything a woman can do. And I think that has helped me to a point of understanding that I, as a man, am physically stronger than a woman. So I should use that to protect her. Yeah. And that has really done me really, really good. Now, to answer your question of when am I going to make that decision? Well, unfortunately, my marriage has failed.
No pressure. No pressure. When you are right.
But I'm a father.
I'm
a father of 6. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. And what example do I want to set for my children? What example do I want to set for my boys? And what example do I want to set for my girls?
Absolutely.
I always bring it down to these 6 little creatures of mine. During an interview, the current job that I have, they asked me, what is your greatest weakness? I said, my children. And what is your strength? I still said, my children. That's like the first thing that came to mind. I would do anything to make sure they are safe, they are provided for, cared for, and all that. And I would do anything to make sure they are not hurt. Anything that hurts them weakens me.
Absolutely.
So I guess my direction then will take my transformation, will come to the type of example that I want to set for my children.
Absolutely.
What do they expect from me? I mean, they know to them, that is this beautiful Father and God of ours here. They don't know what I'm doing during the night. They don't know what I'm doing when I walk out of the house. You know. But then at the end of the day, there's a ripple effect. It's going to come back to them. And sometimes I even feel like my sisters, they are struggling with their relationships. And at times I blame myself. I said, maybe it's because of what I'm doing to other people's sisters. That these guys are doing these things to my sisters. So I guess my answer to my journey of transformation will be reflecting back on what do I want to do to set as an example for my
children. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And no pressure on when you're making that informed decision. Back to you, Anthony. You know, I love what he said. You know, it's really going back, and he mentioned earlier on of how the women in his life and being here with the village people has sort of activated the woman in him. But many a times we don't have that, you know, privilege to really say, you know what, maybe the woman that I'm, approaching now could also be someone that could have been my sister or my cousin, whoever. But what happened in the instance where we find men that did not have what the two of you had, or maybe sex to them was not exposed in such a decent manner, or in such a way where you had your uncles, where you had your brothers to sort of boost you, and that's sort of like a switch off to them perpetrating violence? What would you say is the instance and what you've seen in Namibia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a very, very challenging, especially in our society now, because especially with internet and all, many people have been exposed to sex through different medias.
Yeah.
Others can be a movie on TV. Others now have access through pornography. Others have come to a cross where I would sit down with kids, being exposed by the parent in front of them having sex.
Yeah.
That is their first encounter, and most of these people grow up and they have different experiences, and their outcome of that is going to be very different. Others along the way, they can find men and women who can help them to look at it in a very positive way. Others, unfortunately, it end up very bad.
Yeah.
It becomes very toxic, very negative in themselves, in such a way that I had instances where I would see people. There are people now who just, you are married to your wife, but you just love raping your wife.
Yeah.
You can't have normal process sex because maybe this man, the first encounter of the sexual experience was actually, maybe he was raped, or he saw the mother or somebody being raped, and that has registered in his system that the best way, even if he's married, these are issues that are happening in the society. Married, but he just feels like every day going home, tearing the pants of my wife and raping the woman or the girlfriend or the partner. For him, that is the way of expressing because of how he was sexualized.
Yeah.
So I would say if a man is in that kind of situation, must be able to find help.
Yeah.
Seek counseling, find someone who can be able to actually help him go through
that journey,
that process. So a lot of men out there, as much as sex is a taboo in most society, we can't talk about it. What we just shared with my brother here, some people as they're watching, they'll be like, Tony the boy, did he do it? You know that.
Yeah.
Because somehow we are being violated on how we are sexualized, and we still create this sex as a taboo. We can't talk about it.
Yeah.
So there are such men who are struggling, but because of the taboo environment, you need to break off that. Find someone who can be able actually to help you and say, you know what, I'm struggling, and this is a situation. That's what I would say to men who are
and really start evolving to having these conversations, because we don't have these conversations. And maybe from a psychological aspect from you, what do you think is do we have these discussions with children at home? Do you maybe sit with your 6 children and say, guys, this is what sex is about, this is what you shouldn't engage in? And even do we have these discussions?
I'm yet to sit with my son. He's so big now. He's wearing my shoe size. I'm yet to sit with him to talk about sex, because reality on the ground is, as parent, sex is not a priority kind of a topic.
Yeah. Why? What doesn't make it a priority? Because I've heard that a lot before. Because I'm going to have a follow-up question on that. Yeah.
Somehow it is in us that sex is not a priority kind of a topic, but we also believe that it is just naturally in us. We're supposed to know about sex. There's so many campaigns running about condoms, so you should know that you should use a condom. There's so many what talks about sex, so you should know that at this stage you are not yet ready for sex. We kind of expect that to happen naturally. But then it comes back to what my friend here is saying. What is happening naturally is it setting the right seed? Is it planting the right seed of knowledge of sex? What is the experience of sex is this guy getting? Is my son getting if I don't talk to him about sex? So I think I need to come back now as a father and just ask him, before I even talk to him about sex, ask him, what do you know about sex? What do you think about this subject? What are you doing about it? Do you have a girlfriend? What is a girlfriend to you? What does a girlfriend represent? No, with kids we have sex. Okay. Or no, we give ourselves sweets, we share notes. You see the different notion that they have about the subject of relationship, sex, girlfriend, and all that.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important for us as parents, as caregivers, as primary caregivers who are immediately there with the children to actually talk to them about sex.
Absolutely.
Because the message that they are getting, and mind you, they are getting message about sex out there.
It's Google away, right?
It is distorted.
Yeah.
We can safely say right here that that message is distorted.
Yeah.
And you have, as a father, I have a responsibility to make sure that they have enough knowledge about sex.
Yeah.
Now, psychologically, I think it comes down to history where we are coming from. As an African, we share, I would say we have different cultures, but we share common grounds in our culture.
Absolutely.
There's something really, really common that we share. And one of the subject is the taboo subject, where sex is just not a subject up for discussion. But it's happening.
Yeah.
On the ground, it's happening. Now, what does that do to a person psychologically? Because personality of a person is being molded through experiences around your environment and whatever it is that one has inherited from the parents. You build your personality, and once personality is built, oh my brother, you are in trouble.
Absolutely.
You will have to come back to make that informed decision.
Yeah.
Decide that, you know what, I'm damaged.
Yeah.
I need help. And not a lot of men can do that. And one of the reasons is our social circles do not give room for that. Ourselves as men, we are laughing at each other for having such petty problems. How can sex be a problem to you? See, now our social circle is not creating that environment for us to come back and just call my best friend or a friend, somebody that I can relate to quickly.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm struggling, man. This person will tell you, you're struggling. Just call Anna.
Yeah. She'll fix it.
She'll fix it. Where's that? Sex.
Yeah. And I like that because the discussion based on our previous talk as well, the Ben brought up a notion of, there's sex and then there's intimacy as well. Because I think that really needs to be explored in a different manner, and maybe the conversation of not just sex, but my child, there's different forms and ways of being intimate with someone that you might be experiencing all these different things. Now, we've experienced so much violence in Namibia.
Yeah.
Men towards women, women towards men.
Yeah.
Also men being sexualized. You've been.
Yeah.
Why is it that with the cases that we've seen when we open the newspapers, recently we had a 14-year-old girl. We see and read all these violence that's perpetrated towards women, yet some of them are not reported. In your view, what do you think is the reason that men perpetrate sexual violence towards women?
Again, we'll go back to what we're discussing, being sexualized and the pressure within the community and the friends. So if you hang around that, and then there are many things attached to it which will not be able to exhaust now.
Yeah.
When you look at sexual violence, when you look at women being violated, we just had statistics about maybe 80 kids who have been raped by their biological fathers, or is it percentage of that? Now, when you look at all these things happening, you go back to how us as a society, we are actually sexualizing and educating each other. And it's some cycle of toxic education. No one seems to be breaking out of that. So at the end of the day, if Tony here was not transformed, my son, I have my two boys, I have my two girls. As they see me violate their mother, or as they see me going around and sexualizing women and doing all these things, actually they're going to develop into the same thing. Not to go far. Last episode I shared that my father was a king, married more 4 wives, he had concubines. So at the end of the day, myself, just by observing what my father was and what sometimes he would say, I ended up exactly what my father was, which I've battled for a long time. This thing we're talking about, it's a real thing. So if I don't transform myself, my two boys will definitely become the same. It's a perpetual cycle. So what would say to that issue that we are facing as Namibian and as Africa, where women are continually being violated, is because we are just perpetuating the same messages. Sex is still a taboo. Somehow religion finds a way to justify why women are being oppressed and being raped. Culture is somehow justifying all these things. So it's these kind of affirmation that are just a cycle, same thing, back and forth. And no one seems, so that is the reason where we are in. And as men seated here, and we should thank Regain Trust and all the people who are bringing this program, because only men should face men. That's how we can begin to change the story.
Absolutely.
Men should face men.
Yeah.
You know, if you see your friend going around and the same thing, we should be able to hey, Kaute, this life of yours, you know, we should be able to do that.
Absolutely.
If you see me somehow,
out men.
Call out men, yes.
So that's how we can begin to change these notions.
Yeah, I like that. And from your side, in terms of you being sexualized, and I'm going to get back to you as well, how's that experience been like? You know, because Anthony has shared his way of being sexualized by women. Have you been sexualized? Because it's easy for us as men to sexualize a woman and go out and say, oh, I love the shape, I love the body, or this is what I prefer, long hair, lighter skin tone, what.
You know, our sisters out there as well, they do play a role. The women, they do play a role on how they engage to us and how we engage to them. The problem with men, I would say, I don't want to put it out there, my problem, I would say this, is that you want to read every social cue as an invitation for sex. Somebody is simply complimented to how cute you look.
Yeah.
That one doesn't know me. You had a nice haircut, and poor girl, she has seen you several times. And you look different. You're suited up, and oh wow, Severinos, you look really, really cute today. Like Maria doesn't know me. As soon as I get home, hey, the intention of that hey is to follow up on that social cue. Yeah. Because for me, it was an invitation. She has just immediately activated my sexualization right there.
Because now that's stuck.
Immediately, I want her. Okay. So, yes, not every social cue out there is an invitation for sex. Guys, if you are listening, not every sexual, every compliment is a sexual no. Take a compliment, say thank you, and move on. It's as simple as that. Okay? You look cute today. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. You move on.
Exactly.
Now, to violence, where I think all this violence is happening, for me, I think we need to break that loop. Yeah, we are stuck in kind of an emotional loop where we keep repeating the same thing. We might be doing these actions differently, but it's the same. It's the same thing. Behavioral pattern of it is the same. Hence, our children, the likelihood of our children following what I'm doing as a father is very, very high. The probability is very, very high. So now, not every man may have the confidence to change that confidence and that energy into something positive. Yeah. Because sex is a need. We need to have sex. Yeah. When you don't have sex, your body will start communicating with you that you need sex. Yeah. But then how do you then satisfy that need? How do you approach the opposite sex? Yeah. Or how do you approach doesn't matter your sexual orientation, if you are homosexual or heterosexual, how do you approach your partner? Yeah. For that sexual gratification? Absolutely. Is the question. Now, some people do not have the confidence to go out there and ask and take a no for an answer, because no, it's also an answer. Yeah. I told somebody that, listen, I have all the answer to all the questions in the world. You can ask me anything. And this guy just asked, well, how many people did Jesus feed? I said, I don't know. But you said you had all the answers. Yeah. I said, I don't know. It's an answer.
An answer. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
So we need to take whatever we get as an answer as that. That's
Exactly.
what the person meant.
Exactly.
There's
And
no
accept it
other
as an
message
answer.
around it.
Yeah.
A no is just a no.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a yes. If I say maybe, it's really
Also
a
a
maybe.
maybe. Yeah.
Leave me alone with my maybe.
I like that, Severus. So we've almost come to the end of our show, gentlemen, and I like what we've dived into because you know it plays the role. We really spoke of, you know. Thank you for sharing your own stories. But last message from you, Anthony.
I think I haven't said this, but I've worked most of my life after school, I think, in NGOs. And I just want to send a word out there to NGOs and social activists. We don't acquire behavior in one event. And therefore, you can't change a behavior in one event.
Yeah.
So my word will be going to all the NGOs. I know we operate underfunding.
Yeah.
But there must be a consistency of this kind of message in whichever way. Now, what we are saying is, you don't need to be on this platform. If you can take this video and share it on other platform.
Yeah.
So that creates a consistency. If we are going to change, I'm just appealing to people out there. There must be a consistency. We can't just be operating as once-off event. If we're going to change the behavior of these men and these boys that are growing up, there must be consistency of a message for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So that would be my last word.
Thank you so much for that.
Well, mine will be based on my experience and how I've been sexualized.
Yeah.
There's probably men out there who have gone through what I am going through, who was also struggling with what I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Take that informed decision. Go back to history, your own history, and find out how have you been sexualized and how is that affecting your current life.
Yes.
And then actively decide to do something about it. Don't just decide on paper, but do something about it.
Absolutely.
Because it comes down to what legacy do you want to leave for your brothers, your sisters, your neighbor, and everyone else.
Yeah.
What impact are you making? And first, it needs to start with me.
Yeah.
All these girls that I'm playing around with. Yes, you may tell them that, listen, I just want sex. And you think just by saying, no, I'm honest enough to tell them I just want sex.
Yeah.
Well, poor girl is hoping that by
There's
giving you
something.
once, twice, you will come around.
For a
See,
relationship.
For a relationship. You still didn't change anything. You are also just another perpetrator.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. And to everyone out there that is within this same pot, my brother, kick that pot out.
Yeah.
Like, kick that lid of the pot, jump out, and do something about it. Because I am, from this point onward, I'm going to do something about it.
There you go. Thank you so much for confessing that with us as well, Severiano. Now, for you joining us right about now to making informed decisions, thank you so much to Regain Trust, where you can also get in touch with us on our platform if you do need any help. Now, in Namibia, over 1,000 Namibian women and young girls are raped during the course of the year. Also, most of their sexual encounters are forced. And we urge that you stand up, you do not engage in this. If you do know of this as family members, let's talk about this. Thank you so much to Regain Trust, Men Engaged Namibia Network, as well as the United Nations Population Fund for making this possible. My name is Adriano. And like the gentleman said, let's get to share this. Let's engage. Let's also call out men who are perpetrators. Good day.